Welcome back, everybody, coast to coast, This Week in America. Great to have you with us on the program. The website, by the way, is thisweekinamerica.us. On today's This Week in America, trusted advice and help you can use from nationally recognized licensed clinical psychotherapist, Dr. Lesliebeth Wish, back with us on the program. She's been honored for her pioneering work in love, career, happiness, and success, known nationally and internationally for solid, practical, and trusted advice that has worked for the thousands of women, couples, and men she has counseled. Dr. Wish has been named by the National Association of Social Workers on their list of the 50 who have contributed to the profession, and she's the author of several books, Smart Relationships, How Successful Women Can Find True Love, and The Love Adventures of Almost Smart Cookie. Currently working on a new book on empowering you to trust your intuition. That's with colleague Dr. Carol Morgan, and her website is very simple, lovevictory.com. And on today's program, Dr. Wish is going to be talking about helping us find our passion and our purpose. Dr. Wish, welcome back to the program. It's great to have you with us.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I love working with you.
And I love having you on the program. There is always so much great information that people take away from the program. And let's talk about finding your purpose and passion today. That sounds simple. That sounds like something we all should be doing. But I'm getting the impression for many of us, we never quite find purpose and passion, do we?
It's very difficult because there's so many obstacles to
Yes.
it. So let's start with the first question. Why do I need a passion and purpose? What's the purpose of having a purpose? And that's a whole long conversation, but let me see if I can get it down to some really basically important things. First of all, we are meaning makers. We like to do things that mean something to us. It's why you go to this place or not that place, why you like this song or not that song. We make meaning. Secondly, research has shown that people who have a passion for something, a purpose, it doesn't have to be your career or your job either, just something that makes you excited, feels involved. It really, really boosts your immune system. So if for no other reason, find a passion or a purpose because you can say to yourself, it's good for my health. So let's start with that.
Well, it's interesting because conversely, is it bad for your health as well? Can it lead to anxiety, depression, that type of thing, if we don't have that focus, if we don't have that purpose and passion every day in our lives?
Yes, it can, and that's a good question. Findings show that depression often comes in people who don't feel that they matter. So not only are we meaning makers, but we're matter makers. We want to feel important somewhere to someone. We want to feel that the air we have breathed on this planet has gone for good and that our actions have gone for good things.
You know, you've talked about we sometimes have a tendency maybe to feel insignificant. It's pretty difficult when we feel that we do matter, we are making a difference, then you pick up the paper, there's so many things going on in the world, and you feel like, okay, maybe my contribution isn't all that significant. How do we get over that?
Well, let's pretend for a moment that that's true, that you and I and nobody else matters. So I'm just going to stay on my couch and eat cookies and crackers and popcorn and bonbons and Cheetos and whatever your favorite is and watch endless television and, maybe not even get out of my bedroom slippers. So exaggerate your no in you, the voice that says no, exaggerate it. And you begin to feel that you want to get off that couch, but you don't know where to go. Right? Isn't that often what happens?
Exactly.
Like, where do I go?
Yes.
So let's start with a combination of believing for the moment, pretend that whether you believe it or not, that you matter. You do make a difference. And it isn't whether you make a difference in one person or a million people, because when you help one person, and I know this sounds very new agey and kind of woo-woo, but as a therapist, when one person comes in to see me, I know that if I've been able to help them, I've helped them with their family, their children, their partners, their friends. It's those wonderful ripples. So you don't have to make a big splash. That's one of the first mistakes that people make. I have to be a really, really important person. No, we all have ripple potential with us. So don't fall. I'm going to raise one of my props for those of you who can see me. I'm raising a lemon. You are not a lemon. Say to yourself, I'm not a lemon. I matter. And it doesn't matter how many people I matter to, but I do matter.
Dr. Lesliebeth Wish, our guest on the program. Her website is lovevictory.com. We're talking about the benefits in having purpose and passion in our lives. And let's enter into this, something that's relatively new, and I'm sure something that you deal with on an ongoing basis, and that's social media, social networking. And I'm thinking, okay, that could be good because I'm an equal voice. I've got a keyboard. I can have opinions. I can put pictures on. I can talk about what my family's doing. On the other hand, it's pretty easy, I would think, to feel insignificant as well, because no matter what you're doing, there's probably somebody on social media that's trying to up you one. Is it good? Is it bad? Or is it both?
Well, again, there's research that shows that social media, yes, it's important. You can respond to someone's post, you can be in a group, but it doesn't really do enough. And it definitely doesn't have a very great impact on fighting any of your loneliness or depression. So don't hide behind that and don't use that as your excuse, because we all know how overwhelming the media can be. So let's look at what can you do to find out what's important to you, what's your passion. So the first thing I recommend is make a list of all the things that you're good at. And I didn't say great, I said good. What do you do a good job on? And remember, there's no judgment. No one job is better than another. Are you good at singing, dancing, beautiful handwriting, cleaning a house? It doesn't really matter what it is. Just what are you good at? And then I want you to underscore those things on your list that are important to you.
When you do that list, can it be aspirational as well? I may not be good at playing the saxophone now, but I've always wanted to do that, and maybe I'm going to start doing it. Does it have to be something that we're already display some level of proficiency, or can be something that we would like to be able to do, and for some reason we're holding ourselves back?
That's a good question, and that's the third list to make, your wish list. And see how semi-realistic, okay? I say semi because remember, I'm holding up a lemon. That lemon factor slips in where you say, oh, I can't do that. I X myself out even before I get going. So make a wish list and then look at your wish list and say to yourself, do I have any possibility of doing this? For example, on my top of my wish list, and this is honestly true, I'm raising my right hand. This is honestly true. When I was about 8 years old, I really, really wanted to be an astrophysicist. I went to the planetarium. I was fascinated. I learned about planets and, everything about them and the solar system. And then I found out, I did not have those kinds of higher math skills that you need to really major in physics. So, oops, I'm making an X. That got scratched off my list. But I can make that an interest of mine. And I am such a nerd. I watch all those universe shows and how the universe works and science channels. So there's all kinds of ways to fulfill your wish list, your passionate wish list that may not be in your abilities, but you can develop an interest in it. So take a look at those lists. Things I am interested in, things that mean something to me, and aspirational lists that might be beyond your abilities, but you know what? There's always a way to get involved in it. So, for example, I know a lot of people who love the ballet, but that doesn't mean they're all ballerinas or ballet dancers.
It's interesting. So you can move that one from passion over to interest, and you're happy. Life goes on and you're enjoying it. You are enjoying watching the Science Channel now just as much as if you would have been part of the science community.
That is for sure. I have passive knowledge. I've watched enough of those shows. Don't ask me to explain it. I just love watching them. They excite me, all about, black holes and string theory and all that. So, there's all kinds of things. But the most important thing is I'm raising my lemon again. Don't get that lemon going. That lemon says, you're nothing. You don't matter. You can't do it. And one of the things that gets in the way that really makes that message, I can't do it, so loud, is that when you start something new, it makes us anxious. And that is normal. So you need to make a pact with yourself that you're not going to hide behind your fears. I'm holding up an armadillo. If you know what an armadillo is, it's an animal that crawls slowly on the ground, and it has a huge helmet-like exoskeleton. It's really tough and hard like a turtle shell. And a lot of people use this turtle shell or armadillo shell as an excuse for not doing something. And what you are really doing is saying to yourself, I can't withstand the anxiety of not knowing for sure if I can master this or do it or be interested or look like a jerk.
Well, that's so interesting because so many people hold themselves back because it's sort of like, I need to be right 100% of the time. I don't want to have to admit to anybody that I just made a mistake, that I failed at something. What can we learn from failure? And is failure normal in the whole life process?
Well, let's not use the word failure. I see life as trial and learn. That's just the nature of it. So if you're learning something, think about the time, for example, that you learned to ride a bicycle or to ice skate or roller skate or climb, a rock climbing wall or anything that involved falling down. We fall down. What about when babies learn to walk? They don't just, their bones just don't get together and their muscles just don't get together and say, now's the moment, you're going to be getting up and you're going to be walking. No, it happens, kind of slowly, and the muscles and bones begin to get together and connect with your brain. And if you've ever seen a toddler, they fall lots of times. And so that's what you have to accept. It's not about you, it's about the process. We are trial and learn.
So when you're reading about the inventor that took 103 shots at something before he finally got it right, they're not 102 failures. They were 102 different lessons that he learned from, built from that experience, and got him to the one where the 103rd time it actually worked.
Absolutely. I mean, one of my favorite heroes is Thomas Edison. The numbers keep changing in every article I read, but he had
That's why I didn't use any. I was thinking of him, and I wasn't sure because every time I hear it, all of a sudden it's like 8,427,000 times before he got it right.
I think it's something like a couple thousand. I'm really not sure. But regardless, even 100 is a lot. And he said, no, I just learned what road not to go down. And so finally I found the right road by elimination. So again, life is trial and learn. And so one of the things you can do to boost that self-esteem, and it's so important to do that, because I want everyone to feel here. I've got this wonderful, I'm holding up a medal like you get from the Olympics.
Oh, certainly.
Winner on it. I want you to take a winner mindset. And a winner mindset is, I can rebound. And so what do you do when you rebound? You say to yourself things such as, okay, I didn't do as well as I thought. Let me examine what I can learn, not what I did wrong. What can I learn? And try it again. And if you have trouble doing that, I want you to make a list of anything in your life that you have overcome. Could it be fear of the dark? Could it be fear of driving? Could it be fear of going to a new job or taking an exam? Think about when you got your driver's license. I mean, you were excited but also anxious. And so that is a normal state to be in when you're learning something new. So if you can make a list of your past successes, things that you have overcome in your family life or things that you've done well at, that reminds you that you've got that inner strength.
You're listening to This Week in America. Our guest on the program once again is Dr. Lesliebeth Wish. We're talking about finding your purpose and passion in life. Dr. Wish is the author of Smart Relationships and the Love Adventures of Almost Smart Cookie. If you go to our website, thisweekinamerica.us, you can listen to our past programs by going to our iTunes channel, just a little icon there. And you can watch past programs, the video version, by going to the YouTube channel as well. And, of course, you can go to Dr. Wish's website, which is lovevictory.com. A lot of great information there. A couple of minutes left in the program, and I know there's a story that involves you that really is a good one, because if you think, I'm insignificant, I go to work every day, I'm not curing cancer, my name is not in a plaque anywhere, I'm just a common, ordinary person. You had an experience with your husband sitting in, I think, a hotel lobby in Europe, where a simple smile actually started a series of events and actually basically changed some lives.
I don't even remember telling you about that, but that is so true. My husband and I were in a hotel lobby in Madrid, and we were just sitting having some tea. And there was this couple, they looked to be a little bit older than we are, and they were having a conversation, and the woman looked very sad. And we just happened to catch each other's eye, and I smiled at her. And within a few moments, she and her husband came over to sit with us and said, "Let me introduce myself. My name is so and so, and this is my husband. And I came over because you smiled, and I could tell that you noticed I was sad." Well, it turned out that they are Spanish diplomats, and they were so kind to lend us their driver for the day and to take us around Madrid. And the reason they did that was that she told me a story about how she was so upset about the upcoming marriage of her child to a person who spent some time in jail. And she was so worried that her child was making the wrong decision. And so we talked for a while, and I gave her some advice and helped her. And well, many months later, she emailed me and said, "I did everything you said, and maybe not exactly your words, but I did it on my own. And our child has seen the light, came around, met someone new, a wonderful person, and this one encounter with you has really changed my life and the whole family."
And it started with eye contact and a smile, something that, while traveling, something that, you put all those together, doesn't usually happen, and it did in this particular case. A minute or so left in the program. For those who come to you, and I mentioned literally thousands of people over the years, and they're looking for purpose and passion, a number of other issues, but when they're looking for that purpose and passion in their lives, after they talk with you and they leave and they suddenly start finding out life is a lot better than I thought it was. This really is a great experience. What's that like when you're able to sit there and sense that, the information I gave them has really made a significant impact on their lives? They're now enjoying aspects of their lives they never enjoyed before.
Well, that feeling I get of being of value, of mattering, and offering meaningful things in my life, exactly what other people can have. And you don't have to set the world on fire. We've become such a celebrity culture. You think that you've got to do something really big all the time. And a lot of the books on purpose and passion say dream big, 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 big. Well, you don't have to. You don't have to make a huge dream in order to find something that makes you happy. And if you're not sure what does, think of all the people you know who you respect or people you don't know. Look at want ads in the paper for jobs that you would like to have if you could do them. And eventually, if you don't try to find answers yet, but just kind of go through processes like this, things will begin to shape up. But the most important thing is always, wait, I have another prop. I'm holding up a star. Give yourself a star every time you try to do something. Every time you think about things that interest you, give yourself a star for being brave enough, for feeling that anxiety and kind of floating with it. I call it floating. You have to live with a little bit of anxiety in order to make changes in your life. And don't worry if you didn't come from a great family. You know what? Most of us didn't. Most of us would not like our family story to be up on the ticker tape in New York City, in Times Square, reading about, what your parents did or didn't do to you. So this is my last prop. Don't hold up a blank mirror, a blackened one that takes you back to your past. You can get through and over and beyond your past. Your family history doesn't have to be your destiny. And get that mirror facing forward.
Interesting. So basically, when you talk about books, we suddenly equate success with job titles or bank accounts. And you're saying it doesn't have to be. That's a standard that real honestly, not many of us can be held up to.
Absolutely. And when you do that, once again, you are lying to yourself. You are fooling yourself, and you're falling back. I'm holding up my armadillo. You're falling back on a fake defense. You've wrapped yourself in the words that go through your head that say, I can't set the world on fire. Who's going to notice me? I'm not going to have my picture in the paper. I'm not going to be on television. I'm nothing. And all of that is just this kind of defensiveness. It's fake. You are lying to yourself. I went to a home, like a assisted living home, and there were people in their 80s and 90s, and they were doing things like woodwork and painting and sewing things and taking dance lessons and doing all kinds of different classes. Life is short. I'm holding up a small little hourglass. Life is short. The benefit of knowing that we're going to die is reminding you, get your act together. Find something that means something to you. To you. When you find something that means something to you and gets you excited, you will automatically accomplish something and help others.
So we shouldn't be spending our spare time on Ancestry.com to see if we're related to the Kardashians. That's really not the way to find purpose and peace in life.
Well, if that's what it does for you, it's short-lived, right? I mean, I have a famous relative. He was one of Enrico Caruso's voice coaches. Enrico Caruso was a famous European opera singer. But what does that get me? I can't sing a note, not one. Okay, so you've got to think about something to do. Think in terms of doing. But in order to get there, you've got to get rid of those lemon messages. I'm holding up my lemon. You've got to put down that mirror that's all blackened out because you're looking backwards and saying to yourself, I had rotten parents, I got a bad break. Well, you know what? A lot of us have gotten bad breaks. I wouldn't want my parents for somebody else, but you can get beyond it. You really can. And you can turn that mirror so you are looking forward all the time.
And a great discussion with Dr. Lesliebeth Wish, our guest on the program, back with us. And the information is available at the website, thisweekinamerica.us. Dr. Wish's website is lovevictory.com. The books she's written, Smart Relationships, The Love Adventures of Almost Smart Cookie. A lot of great information available at the website, lovevictory.com. Dr. Wish, always a pleasure. Looking forward to having you back on the program.
Thank
you for being with us on the program today.
Much.
It is our pleasure.
Thank you.
And again, information on Dr. Wish, you can link on directly to our website at our website, thisweekinamerica.us. Back after these messages.